Welcome to week 3. This week we're going to be working on this green section here, and this is inspired by Charles's love of the land and all the things that he's done for the country and for the planet. And you should be able to see the graduated watercolour of the effect appearing now with these lovely graduated blues and greens. This is the last section of the blanket that's worked in rounds. After this week we'll be moving on to rows. But let's get started with the videos and let's get week 3 underway. Our first stitch of week 3 is one of my favourites. It's called Shell Stitch and it's really effective and it's a really lovely relaxing stitch to make. So we're going to start off by pulling up a loop of grass in the corner space, chain 1, and this does not count as a stitch, and then I'm going to make 1 double crochet in the corner. So slightly different this time. We don't have a corner with stitches and chains in the middle. We just have this 1 double crochet in the middle that we're going to work into in the next round. And then I'm going to skip 2 stitches, so 1, 2 stitches, and then I'm going to make my first shell stitch. And a shell stitch is simply 5 treble crochets in the same stitch. So yarn over, treble crochet, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to skip 2 more stitches and I'm going to make a double crochet. So that's 1, 2 skip stitches and then a double crochet, and you are simply going to repeat this all the way along the side. So I'm going to skip 2 stitches and make 5 trebles in the same stitch, and then skip 2 more stitches and make a double crochet. So that's 3, 4, 5, skip 2 stitches and make a double crochet. Repeat this along the side, and when you get to the end of the side, the last stitch you make will be your 5 treble cluster shell stitch. That's hard to say. And then you will make a double crochet in the corner and then just repeat all the way around. So we'll go all the way round and I'll meet you back here when I finish this round and I'll show you how to fasten off. So skip 2 stitches and then 5 treble crochet in the same stitch to form the last shell cluster. 3, 4, 5, and then we skip the last 2 stitches, so that's 1, 2, and we finish off the round in the usual way with the hook under both loops of that first DC. And fasten off. Round 29 is shell stitch again, and like the round before, this one is worked with the right side facing up, but it's a good idea as we're going through the pattern to always make sure that you're keeping an eye on whether you should be right side up or right side down, because it does make a difference to the stitch placement. So we're going to start this round this time by working right into the center of this double crochet in the corner. So I'm going to pop my hook into the V of that double crochet. So I'm not going to the side of the double crochet as you usually would. I'm going right in between the legs of that stitch, so into that V. I'm going to pull up a loop and chain 2, and this counts as my first treble crochet, and then I'm going to make 2 more treble crochet, and these are all going into the middle of that double crochet stitch, and then I'm going to chain 2 and make 3 more treble crochet right into the V of that double crochet stitch. And this forms the corner, and you can see that they all sit nicely within that double crochet stitch, and it makes a little V shape at the bottom of the shell cluster. So now I'm going to make my next stitch, which is a double crochet in the 3rd treble crochet in the shell cluster. So we're going to count the first stitch, so that's 1, 2, 3 stitches, and make my double crochet in that 3rd treble crochet. So now we have a shell stitch again, and that is going to go in the middle of the V of the double crochet again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then double crochet in the 3rd treble. So that's 1, 2, 3, going to double crochet into that stitch, and then I'm going to repeat this all the way along the side. At the corner I'm going to work my 3 treble crochet, 2 chains and 3 treble crochet into that V of the double crochet. I'm going to continue all the way round, and then when we get to the end of the round I will show you how to fasten off. Nearly at the end of round 29, and this is my last shell cluster. So that's 2 trebles, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to work my last DC in the 3rd treble of the shell cluster below. So that's the first DC, sorry, the first treble, the 2nd treble, the 3rd treble, and I'm going to work my double crochet into there, and that's the last stitch of the round. So I'm going to fasten off in the usual way by putting my hook under both loops of that first treble, pull through and fasten off. And I'm going to work rounds 30 in grass and 31 in lime in exactly the same way. So here is round 30 in grass and 31 in lime completed. Round 32 is a new stitch. It's called lemon peel stitch, and we're going to be using sky marl this time. So I'm going to pull up my loop of sky marl. And lemon peel stitch has a slightly unusual corner because it's not symmetrical. You'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to start by chaining 1. This doesn't count as a stitch. and 1 double crochet, and then chain 2, and instead of another double crochet as we've done before, this time I'm going to do a treble crochet. And from now on we're going to alternate between double crochet stitches and treble crochet stitches, and when we do the next round we're going to do it the opposite way round. So your corner will be non-symmetrical again, but you will have, instead of having a double crochet and then a treble, you will have a treble crochet and a double, so it evens it out, but you get a nice alternating stitch pattern. So my last stitch was a treble crochet in the corner, so my next stitch is going to be a double crochet, and I'm going to skip this first stitch as we've skipped stitches before, and then make double crochet and then a treble, and just alternate between the 2 stitches all the way along the side. So alternating treble crochet and double crochet stitches. And when you get to the end of the row, the round, remember that you are making a non-symmetrical corner, so you will have a double crochet, 2 chain and a treble crochet, and then remember that you are going to skip that first stitch again, and then continue all the way round, and when we get back to here I'll show you how to finish the round. So treble crochet, double crochet, treble crochet, and then finish off the round by slip stitching under your first double crochet and fasten off. So round 33 is also lemon peel stitch, and we're going to start the round in the usual way by pulling up a loop of lime this time, and the corner is the opposite way round to the one below. So before we started with a double crochet followed by a treble, we're going to do it the other way round this time. So we're going to start by chaining 4, and that is our first treble and our 2 chains. So the first 2 chains make up the treble and 2 chains for the corner, followed by a double crochet, and that's our corner. And now we're going to work our alternating stitches, and if you look carefully at the stitches, we have stitches that look like little V shapes, and that is the double crochets from the row before, and we have stitches with little loops at the top, these little holes, and they are treble crochets in the row before. So whatever you did in the row below, we're going to do the opposite this time. So this first stitch has a V shape, so that was a double crochet before, so this time we're going to work a treble crochet into that stitch. And this one was a treble crochet before, so we're going to work a double crochet into that stitch, and we're going to repeat that all the way along the row, alternating between the 2. So everywhere you did a treble crochet in the row below, we're going to do a double, and everywhere you did a double crochet, we're going to make a treble, and that's what gives you that bumpy effect. So I'm going to continue along my alternating stitches, and when you get to the corner, again it's the opposite to what you did before, so it's going to be a treble crochet, 2 chains, and then a double crochet, and then continue all the way around, and then I'll show you how to fasten off when we get to the end of the round. So this is my last few stitches of round 33, my alternating treble and double crochet stitches. Final double crochet and finish off the round by putting the hook under both loops of the first double crochet in the usual way, and you can fasten off. And round 34 is also lemon peel stitch, and that's done in exactly the same way, this time using grass. Round 35 is moss stitch, and that's a new stitch, and it's made up of alternating double crochet and chains. So we're going to start in the usual way by pulling up a loop of lime this time in the corner space, and chain 1, and this does not count as a stitch, and the corner is 1 double crochet, 2 chains and 1 double crochet, and now we're going to chain 1, and this is going to give us a space to work our stitches in on the next round, and you'll see that when we get to there. We're going to skip this first stitch, so the first stitch here, and then double crochet into the next stitch. And then we're going to chain 1 and skip a stitch and double crochet into the next stitch, and then chain 1. So skip a stitch, double crochet, skip a stitch, and you're going to repeat this all the way along the side. At the corner you're going to double crochet, chain 2 and double crochet, and then remember to skip this first stitch, and then continue with your alternating double crochet and chain pattern all the way around. And then when we get back to here, I'll show you how to fasten off the round. And then I'm going to fasten off by popping my hook under both loops of the first double crochet in the usual way. And fasten off. So round 36 is moss stitch again. This time we're using Sky Marl, and we're going to start the round by pulling up a loop. We're going to 1 chain, and this does not count as a stitch, just as before, and then we're going to make 1 DC, 2 chains and another DC, that's a double crochet, to form the corner, and then 1 chain, and make the next double crochet in the chain space. So that's this chain space here, so between the stitches, double crochet, 1 chain, and then in the chain space again, so it's the loops to the right of the post of the stitch. And chain, double crochet, and I'm going to do this all the way along the side. At the corner I'm going to 1 double crochet, 2 chain and 1 double crochet, and repeat this all the way around as before. And when we get to the end, I'll show you how to fasten off the round. So double crochet, 1 chain, double crochet, 1 chain, and we're nearly at the end of round 36. So that's my last double crochet in the last chain space, and we're going to fasten off by popping the hook under both loops of that first double crochet and slip stitching to close. And you can fasten that one off. And then round 37 is worked in exactly the same way, but this time using lime. Round 38 is a treble crochet round, and we're going to be working into the moss stitch. So I'm going to show you how to work into these moss stitches and get evenly spaced stitches along your round. So we're going to start off in the usual way by pulling up a loop of frost blue, and this time we're going to chain 4, and this is going to count as the first treble crochet and the 2 chain for the corner. And I'm just going to pop my stitch marker into the second chain so it's easy to find when we want to finish the round. So stitch marker in there, and then we're going to make the second treble into the corner. So that's our corner complete. And now we have stitches and we have chain spaces. So stitches, same as before, is the loops to the right of the post of the stitch. So our first treble we are going to work into the stitch. And then we have chain spaces, and if I just pull this apart, you can see that there's 2 spaces here. So we've got the chain space, and that's to the left of the post of the stitch, and the stitch, which is to the right of the post of the stitch. So I'm going to treble crochet into the chain space, and then treble crochet into the stitch. And you need to repeat that all the way along. So you're alternating between treble crochet in the chain space and treble crochet in the stitch. And when you get to the corner, check the pattern, and it says 1 treble crochet, 2 chains, and 1 more treble crochet to turn the corner. And then you're just going to carry on all the way round, alternating between your trebles in the chain space, treble in the stitch, and when we get to the end of the round, I'll show you how to finish the round and start round 39. 1 in the last stitch, and I'm just going to fasten off by putting my hook under both loops of the second chain, and that marker that we placed at the beginning of the round showed us where to place the hook. Just going under those loops and fasten off. And this time, instead of cutting the yarn, we're going to do what we did before, and we're going to start round 39 by slip stitching into that corner twice, turn, and then 2 chain. That counts as our first treble. 1 treble into the same space, 2 chains, 2 trebles. So this is exactly the same as we did before. And now we're starting our wave pattern, and don't forget to check the pattern to see how the wave pattern starts, because it will be different depending on how the pattern fits into the row and the stitch count. So the pattern tells me that I start with 1 treble, 3 double trebles, 1 treble, 1 half treble, and then I'm into my regular wave stitch pattern. So here's my treble, my double treble, my second double treble, my third double treble, my treble, my half treble, and then the wave stitch pattern carries on in the usual way. So you're going to work all the way round and slip stitch to join into the 2 loops of the first treble in the usual way, and then you can fasten off. You just need to check in the pattern to see what the first stitch in your wave pattern is. It's worked in the same way as we did before, but it will start with a different stitch. So the first stitch in your wave pattern will be different. So check that before you start this round. Same again for row 40. It's worked in exactly the same way as we did in week 2, but it will start with a different stitch at the beginning of your wave pattern. And then row 41, same again, and row 42 is a treble crochet row, and that's worked in exactly the same way again as we did in week 2. So here are the last 5 completed rows of week 3, and we have row 43 and 44. These are granny rounds, and these are worked in exactly the same way as we did before. And this is row 45. This is a double crochet round, worked in exactly the same way again. And rows 46 and 47 are granny rounds again. You just need to refer to the pattern to make sure that you're skipping the stitches in the right places. So next week we will be joining our little mini jewels. That's these. So you will need to have those finished and the end sewn in ready to join next week. So there we have it. That's week 3. Well done. We've learned 3 new stitches. We've got our shell stitch, our lemon peel stitch and our moss stitch. Don't forget you're rewinding those videos and pausing if you need extra help with them. Jump into the Facebook group if you need support. I'll be dropping in this week to say hi and answer any questions. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next week.